Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CHH Hysteria, a podcast for CHH about everything CHH. I'm your host, Cole.
And I'm your fellow host, Cooper.
And today we have another Cooper on the show, the Moses of rap and up and coming CHH artist, Coop. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we were huge fans of your music, have been since like probably early this year when we found you on your Exile album. Super good. But just 2 weeks ago, you dropped your Childlike project. Can you tell us a little bit about like how you came up with that concept, how it all came together, stuff like that?
Yeah. I knew I had to drop an EP. Next Move came to the artist and was like, "Hey, we want you guys to drop an EP." And I was kind of just looking for inspiration, didn't really know where I wanted to go. And then I actually stumbled across this photo on my mom's Instagram. I just happened to be like looking through old photos and stuff. And I found this photo that really just took me back, and a wave of nostalgia hit. And it was the photo that turned out to be the cover art for the Childlike EP. And I wrote Home Run Derby like that right then. Originally it was just supposed to be a single because I was like, I really like this song. And then I just took that whole concept of those younger childhood days and reminiscing, and I turned it into the EP that we have now. So yeah, it was kind of just a random moment of inspiration from a photo that turned into that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, a lot of times the best concepts come from like a random inspiration. Like you see, like I know you said, like you're looking through old stuff and like nostalgia, and it just kicks in. That's dope.
Right.
You said, is Home Run Derby? Would you call that your favorite song on the project then, or did you end up recording something else that you like more?
Ooh, it's a tie between Home Run Derby and Storytime Part 2. But yeah, that one. I mean, both of those are some of the best songs I think I've ever written. So for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I love Storytime Part 2. I think your storytelling ability is really good, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Thank
Can
you,
we
man.
talk about? Can you tell us a little bit about that song? It's
Yeah.
kind of like your life story, almost like your birth story. Sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everything in there is a true story. I was a month away from being born. It happened in January of 2002. It was a really bad winter storm that had hit in Oklahoma, and I can't remember where they were driving to or from, but it was my mom, my sister, and my grandma. I mean, my mom's sister, and my grandma. And both my mom and her sister were pregnant with me and my cousin, and there was a bunch of ice, and we ended up rolling like 4 or 5 times. I posted the picture on my Twitter. I'll probably post a picture of the car on my Instagram sometime later. But yeah, it was a terrible car accident that really kind of defined our family. My grandpa was in the car behind, and he saw the whole thing happen, and he thought he had lost us all. So it was this really kind of tragic moment. Thankfully, God protected us. I think my grandma had a surgery and my aunt had a surgery. Other than that, it was just minor injuries. No one was seriously hurt, which is kind of a miracle when you see the damage of the car and everything. So, yeah, there's kind of two, I guess, car wrecks that defined my family. That was one of them. And then the other one was part 2 that I talked about with my grandparents on my dad's side. And so I just wanted to weave those two stories together.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. I'm not on much on Twitter as much as I on Instagram, so I'll have to go check that photo out on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So the second verse is about your grandparents on your dad's side.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Okay.
my grandparents in 1963, they had a son named Edward, and he was a year old, and he was sitting in the front seat of their car when they were traveling, and they were actually hit by a drunk driver, and the baby passed away. And both my grandma and grandpa were in a coma each for like a month or two.
Oh, wow.
So they woke up and their baby had already been buried, and a funeral and everything. It was tragic. And then because of the wreck and complications that they had, they couldn't have kids anymore. So that's how they ended up later adopting my dad. So the story is kind of, the first car wreck that I was involved in, and then how my grandparents' car wreck all those years back led to the adoption of my dad, and how I got here today. So it's kind of just a cool story that I wanted to tell.
Yeah. You said something like how God can take your wreck and make it. I can't remember exactly how you said it, but I think it's the last
Yeah,
line.
yeah.
I
So
thought it was
I
really
really
good.
wanted to, yeah, I really wanted to wrap up like, okay, this is a personal story to me. How can I make it impact other people? Because not everyone has, been through a car wreck. But it really just hit me that the whole point of this was that God can take a bad situation and bring something good out of it. So I think I said, God can make a masterpiece out of your wrecked life too, like whatever is going on in your life. So yeah, but thank you so much. I appreciate
Yeah,
that you like it.
for sure. No, that's one of my favorite. One of my favorites from the project as well. And then, kind of going to one of my other favorites is 9,000 hours.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
one. That's kind of like, I don't know, probably like the radio hit. I don't know if that's the right word, but like kind of like
Yeah.
probably the one that's gonna be like more playlisted and stuff. But
Yep.
in that, so what was your thought process behind saying 9,000 hours versus like the normal's 10,000 hours?
Mhm. Yeah. So like you said, that's definitely probably the radio hit, I guess, or playlisted one. And I knew I needed a song with a lot of replay value. So that's the reason why I made that track. And there's a ton of songs called like 10,000 hours,
Right.
and I wanted to kind of do something different. I've been obsessed with that whole concept of 10,000 hours since I was really young. I always thought like if I could hit my 10,000 hours, I'd be the best rapper ever. And so kind of the meaning behind that song is what I feel like where I'm at as an artist is like I'm at my 9,000 hours. And so just kind of wait till I hit my 10,000. If this is me at my 9,000, it's all hypothetical. I don't really know. I haven't kept track of how many hours I've spent.
Right.
But that was kind of the idea behind it. Like this is me before my 10,000. I'm still working at it. But yeah, that was the idea behind that.
Nice. Yeah. That's dope. I like it. Like you're not at your prime per se yet. Like there's still a lot
Right.
to come. Yeah, that's
Right.
dope.
And I love the fact that like there's a ton of songs called 10,000 hours, and I doubt there's a song out there called 9,000 hours. I just
Right.
wanted to do something different. So
For sure. Yeah, I don't think I've heard one called 9,000 hours, but
yeah,
you're right. There's like a million 10,000 hours.
for sure. Yeah.
So I think this is how you made it. You said, I learned to fake it till I make it. Like, are you still kind of, like, what did that look like for you? And is that still something you're still doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the cool thing about this generation of artists is that you really can fake it until you make it. With technology and everything, we live in a generation where someone can post a TikTok of them rapping and then sign a record deal a week later because it blows up and that song gets on the radio or something. Whereas before it was probably a lot harder to get that kind of attention. So I didn't have any equipment. I didn't even know what equipment to buy. I just knew I wanted to make music. And yeah, that line kind of just talks about how I took it one step at a time. Really, it was all about connections. I would ask to rap for people anytime someone, came and did a concert, and that led to me. I rapped for Dylan Chase. I think was probably the first big rapper that I rapped for, and like 6 or 7 months later, I was on his album. So that kind of just proves that you just, it doesn't matter if you really know what you're doing or not, or you have the equipment or not. You just keep putting yourself out there, and then now I look up and I've signed a deal and I'm making music and living out my dreams. So yeah.
Hey, yeah, that's awesome. No, we love Dylan Chase too. So I don't know if
Yeah,
I've heard the
Dylan's
song.
awesome.
I'm trying to think if I've heard the song with you featured on it. I might have. I don't remember at the moment,
It's
but
so the song is called Separate. It's on his album Joyful Loser. You should check it out.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I've definitely listened to Joyful Loser a few times.
Yeah.
Cool. So
Yeah.
I've heard it.
Yeah. That was a 16-year-old Coop on Separate.
Hey, hey.
Yeah.
That's dope. Making it like getting on a Dylan Chase album when you're 16. That's big stuff. That's cool.
Appreciate it.
So in Welcome to Exile, and then you kind of like coined your term as like the Moses of rap. Like how did that come? Like where like kind of explain that.
Yeah, that was completely unintentional. I well, so the theme of Welcome to Exile, the album, it was kind of loosely based on the Israelites and the Exodus and the wilderness wandering. That's the whole concept was the world that we live in right now. This is our wilderness, and we're just trying to make it to our promised land or heaven. So in a couple lines or a couple songs, I likened myself to Moses, um, just to kind of drive the concept and the theme. But I really wasn't thinking that much about it. And then after the album dropped, I just had like a bunch of DMs and people like started coining the phrase for me. I think someone DM'd me one time and was like, "What's up, Lil Moses?" or something. And
Hey.
I was like, "Hey, that's kind of funny." And then, so yeah, people kept calling me that. And then I think on my song Earthquake, I said, since Exile, they call me the
Yeah.
Moses of rap. So it's just kind of something that I didn't really expect to happen, but I like it. It's stuck. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So are you gonna drop like a project as an alter ego called Little Moses, like as
Should
Little
I?
Moses?
Should I? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I've always wanted to. I think Welcome to Exile, concept wise, is such a great album, even though sonically I know I can do better. So I've always thought about like sometime later in the future revisiting the concept, maybe with like a part two or something. And I can definitely keep hitting that theme of young Moses because I really like it, and I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Yeah, I love the Exile album. Your song Intro to Exile is like one of my favorite songs by you for sure. I think that's the song I first heard you on, and it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thank you.
So kind of moving on from like the childlike stuff to kind of your next move that you have going on with Henrik Christopher Sincere. And I know there's some people watching that won't know what next move is. We've talked about it before on our channel. We think it's gonna be like one of the next really big like collectives. You know, you got like 116, Indie Tribe, stuff like that. Like next move is
Right.
next. um,
Absolutely.
so can you explain to us kind of like what next move is, stuff like that?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot like what it sounds like. Next move, the reason it was designed is to give artists their next move and position them to be successful. So more than just a label, they want to teach us as artists, you know, the business side. I mean, we've had meetings already about here's how the business of the industry works. Here's how you can leverage yourself as an artist. Here's how to engage people at live concerts, merchandise, all this stuff. And really, they want to push us to be able to, like, once we're done, once we're out of the contract, or if we decide to stay, it's either way, they're going to help us propel to our next move. And so that's really kind of I don't know if it's revolutionary, but I feel like most labels are about like, here, let me bring in artists so that we can build ourselves up and make money. And next move is really kind of the opposite. It's let's take these artists that we think are talented and push them and fund them and give them the tools they need to eventually send them out on their own. So that's kind of the idea and purpose behind next move, at least as far as what I can tell and what I've been told. But I definitely agree. I think next move is the next big collective. So for sure, I'm super excited.
Oh yeah, super dope that you guys have like they teach you the ins and outs of the music business. I think there's a lot of like hard lessons that like are learned and like they can kind of teach you a lot of that before. And that's super dope to
Absolutely.
hear that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And YB is like I don't know, like the creator. He was yeah. Can you explain like the YB thing?
Yeah. So YB and Tammy founded Next Move. They're the creative geniuses behind the whole movement. And YB really is all about relationship before anything industry. I had no idea that there was a label or collective that he was looking to start. We first started talking probably a year and a half ago now, maybe longer, maybe 2 years ago. 2 years ago now. And he was just encouraging. He was, hey, I love the new song you just dropped, or hey, you know, encouraging critiques and constructive criticism. And he also reached out and said, if there's anything me and my team can do to help you with the Welcome to Exile rollout. So some of that graphics and pictures and things that I posted came from him and his team helping out for free completely.
Oh, wow.
And he was all about, even before I knew about the collective, he was all about, I want to help artists that I see that are talented. I want to help them grow, and more relational than anything. And after talking for a while, he shared his vision with me and was like, hey, I mean, it's been 5 or 6 years, I think. He was like, I've been, God gave me this vision of what I want to do, and he gave me a calling, and this is what I'm looking forward to doing. And I had no idea who the other artists were or what, but it was, kind of like, if you want to be a part of this, let me know. And there was all the details that went into that, but I ended up saying yes. I really felt like God was opening the door for that, and so that's why I'm here today. And YB, and really kind of his big thing is he went through a lot of those trials that you talked about that artists face in the industry, and he wanted to be the one to say, okay, I've gone through these hard things in the industry, let me tell you how to avoid them. Let me be there so you don't have to go through them alone. He kind of wanted to lay out the blueprint for younger artists so that they didn't have to do it the way he did, which I think is really cool. So
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's like what CHH needs is like veterans like YB to like kind of take these younger artists and like help them out like through the hard
right.
stuff of the music, because like making music is only like 25% of the battle, right?
No, yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lot
for
more
sure.
to it that we don't see. And you kind of answered my question, but how do you think Next Move will change the genre of CHH?
Mm. Uh, I think the biggest thing that we keep talking about is that we're gonna move different. That's the main thing we focus on every time that we get together and meet and share our vision and plan and execute. And we want to do things different than anyone's ever done it before. We want to, I mean, above all, we're going to be unashamed and honor Christ in our music. And that's not that that's something that isn't done already by a ton of amazing artists, but it is something that if you're not careful, you can lose sight of in terms of music in the industry. So we want to always keep the gospel the forefront of our music. Um, and yeah, we don't want to be, caught up in trends. We don't want to be like, oh, if Rapzilla does this, we have to do it, or if Reach Records does this, we have to do it. And we don't want to be caught up in that. And we love Rapzilla and we love Reach Records, but we want to be able to say, hey, there's other ways that you can do things, and we're paving our own path. And that's kind of probably how I think Next Move's going to change the industry the most, is just being us, being unashamed, doing things our own way, and getting after it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Like the move different thing. I mean, like we already have a Reach Records. We don't need like a Reach Records two
Right.
or like a
Right.
Rapzilla two, right? That's
Yeah,
dope. I like that.
and I know I said it, but like, please hear me. I love what Reach Records does. I love what Rapzilla is about and does. So no shade to them at all, but we just want to do our own thing. We want to move different. We want to inspire new groups of people and stuff. So for
For
sure.
sure. Yeah, for sure. So you kind of said you didn't know who the other artists were when YB reached out to you. Did you? Is that kind of how you got connected with Henrik and Christopher Sincere, or were you like friends with them before?
So I knew of Henrik. Actually, it was kind of funny. I was on his Instagram live one time. He was like, so he's a famous TikToker, and at the
Mm-hmm.
time he was like critiquing his favorite Christian rap songs or something like that. And so I was on Instagram one day and got tagged on a live, and I joined it, and it was like, in my mind, I just saw this TikToker reacting to my music and stuff. So he followed me after that. Like, we followed each other, but I didn't really know who he was. And then I had no idea who Chris was. Chris said that I think he told me that he followed me after Welcome to Exile because he saw my intro track and really liked it. But other than those like small things, I had no idea who they were. I don't, and I signed, and it was like the day I signed, I was added to a group chat, and like we started FaceTiming to get to know each other and stuff. And it was meeting these new people for the first time. I really didn't. I hadn't heard any of Chris's music. I don't even think I'd heard Hendrix's music. I just knew he was a TikToker. But after that, yeah, it was cool. We got to know each other.
Yeah, that is cool. You guys kind of got like a lot of variety. I mean, Henrik is like music is very different from yours and Christopher's.
Right.
You know? That's cool.
Right.
I'm not on TikTok, but are you on TikTok too, or is it just kind of Henrik's thing?
It's just kind of, yeah, TikTok's kind of Henrik's thing. Chris has actually been killing it recently. He's got a page with some dope stuff. I think I post like my promo videos on TikTok, but I don't upload or anything regularly, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty non-existent on it. But yeah, that's Henrik's lane. He kills it. Yeah, and he's got a ton of like dope hardcore fan base from it too. It's cool to see, for sure.
Right, he is. Yeah, he has a lot of followers. He's killing it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of saw on Instagram you guys were all doing stuff together. Are we ever gonna get a Next Move mixtape? I mean, you probably can't say, but you know you can say. Hey, all right.
No, yeah, we were all. This was not this weekend. This past weekend, we were all at Airbnb together, just making music. So there's definitely stuff on the way. I'll say that. I'll say that for sure.
I cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
So kind of going into our next thing, just kind of about your music in general. So in Childlike, you hinted at writing album 3, and like what are you kind of wanting to do with album 3? I know you probably can't say that much yet, or like what are your dreams, I guess?
No, I'm glad you asked. This is cool. So actually, about maybe less than a month before I signed, I had album 3 completely recorded, mixed, and mastered, finished. I made the whole thing with Dylan Chase over 3 or 4 weekends during quarantine. And yeah, I had this, I thought it was going to be this, I mean, I still love it. I had this project that I thought was going to be amazing. Obviously I wasn't signed at the time that I was making it. So I thought, this is my project that's going to get me signed and going to get me out there. And in the last probably month or two, I've just scrapped like pretty much the whole thing. So I'm really excited because I still have the concept. I've kept the concept. I've kept a couple of the songs or the song ideas, and I'm just going to spend the next however long refining it, making it better, reworking it, adding new songs, really perfecting it, because I think I have something special. So it's been cool. It's a process I'm not used to. Before I was signed, I would write a project and then release it, because it was just all about how much music can I get out and how can I get myself out there. And this is the first time. I mean, I invested my own money, hours of time. Dylan invested hours of his time mixing and mastering, and I scrapped the whole thing. So it's cool. It's been a learning process, but I really think the final product is going to be amazing. So yeah, I have the concept still. I got a lot of the framework and the songs and the ideas. And then now that this EP is out, I'm just going to go to work at making this the best album that I can. So, yep.
I cannot wait to hear. I can't believe you just scrapped the whole album, though. Is
I know.
Dylan a little offended?
No, he did. He was upset. I think he knew it was coming. He texted me not too long ago. He was like, and he called it the name, but he was like, is the album ever going to come out? And I was like, probably not. We're probably going to redo this. But he's an artist. He's been there. He understands, and he's super supportive of everything I do. So he's always been in my corner. But yeah, it was hard. It was hard for me to do because I love it. I put a lot of time into it, and I think there's amazing music on there. I just think I can bring a whole lot more to the table. So I'm excited to see what I can do.
at the end of your career, I expect to see a like a Coop, the lost tapes, and that better be on.
Oh, should I do that? Should I do
You
that?
should.
I
Oh
have the
man.
private link on SoundCloud. The whole album's up there. I don't know if anyone will ever hear it.
Oh man, that's so
May-
sad.
maybe I
You
should.
drop
Maybe I should.
the link in our DM. I'm just playing.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So yeah,
funny.
no, that's dope. I cannot wait to hear album three. And yeah, I can imagine having a whole album and then just scrapping it. That would like that'd probably take a toll on you too.
Yeah, yeah, for
So
sure.
you said in Childlike that you've been rapping since you were 11. How did you get started, and when did you realize like this is what I wanted to do, and then when did you realize this is what I can do? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've loved music from the beginning. Started playing drums when I was like 8 years old, and a little bit of keyboard, piano, and then I would write like poetry, worship music. So I've been making music since I was really little, like before I even knew what I was doing. But around 11, 12, the church that I grew up was a very diverse youth group. Everything was like rap and basketball. That was pretty much all that was my whole upbringing as a kid. And so there were freestyle battles every Wednesday night and Tuesday open gym. And yeah, I just started kind of hopping in, being a part of that. I looked up to a lot of the older guys in my grade, and they were super into, or older guys in my youth group, and they were all about hip hop. And so that was the influence for that. And since I loved music already, it kind of just happened. It was inevitable. I started joining in on the freestyles and rapping and doing dumb stuff. And then I really enjoyed it and loved it, and found some artists that inspired me, that I fell in love with their craft. And so I started writing on my own. And yeah, so that's kind of how it started. I was probably 13 or 14, maybe a little bit older, when I realized, hey, I'm kind of good at this. I was winning a lot of freestyle battles, and we would have open mics and stuff like that, and people said that I was good. So and above all, like, it was my passion. So whether people liked it or not, I went home and I would make music for hours, and at that point in my life it was rap. So that's I kind of just wanted to do it. And you do something so much, I mean, like I said, like the kind of the 9,000, 10,000 hour concept, you do something so much, you'll get good at it eventually. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then you dropped your correct me if I'm wrong, but you dropped your first album, at least on Spotify, at 16, right? Or would you have been older than that? I
I
can't
think
remember
I
the
was
name at the
seven. I
moment.
think I was 17. Unveiled.
Okay, Unveiled. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
I
I
have
was.
the yeah, I have the album
Yeah, I
cover in
wrote
my
I
head.
wrote the whole thing. Yeah, yeah, that's right. I wrote pretty much the whole thing when I was 16. It took me forever to get out, just because it was my first time releasing an album, and I had no idea what I was doing. And then, and the last song that yeah. So I was 16. I think I wrote one of the songs when I was 17, and then finally got it out. So
Yeah, you probably did. You learn like, and then your next album was then Welcome to Exile, right? So then, did you learn a lot from that first album that you were able to take into that album?
yeah, absolutely. I learned a lot, first and foremost, about promoting and how to drop and release and market an album. Because the first one, literally all I did was like drop it, and I had worked so long to get it out there that when it finally did, I was like, hey, I dropped an album, and then that was it. So I definitely learned the importance of, when you've spent so much time on something, how to properly market it and put it out. And then, yeah, sonically, I think I learned a lot. There were so many unkept things about that first album, like audibly, that I could have touched up and done a lot better, that I think I corrected on the next album. So just little things like that, but they definitely helped Welcome to Exile be a much better project.
Cool. Yeah, like the saying goes like, no matter how good music you make, if you don't market it, no one's gonna listen to it anyways. Like it could be
Right.
like the best
Yeah.
music ever, and have like
Right.
under 1,000 streams.
For sure. For sure.
Nice. So, who would you say have been your biggest inspirations, like musically?
Yeah. I have some weird music inspirations,
All right.
because I'm a rapper, but I feel like I listen to less rap now than I ever did. I always tell people the reason that I make music is Justin Bieber. I was
So
8 years I was 8 years old, yeah, 7 or 8, and his documentary came out, and he was like, there was old home videos of him like playing drums and piano and stuff, and like I saw that and I was so inspired, and a week later I started drum lessons. So that's like how I got into making music. Um, J. Cole is probably my biggest inspiration as far as rap is considered. J. Cole and Drake both inspired me a ton my whole childhood. And then obviously Lecrae and KB and Andy and all those guys, Reach Records as a whole. Um, and then I would say John Bellion's probably the one who inspired me the most musically, just as far as my love and passion for music as a craft. So yeah, there's a whole wide range and variety of people from pop stars to rappers to everything in between. So yeah, but those are probably my biggest inspirations.
no, that's crazy. That I feel like John Bellion keeps getting brought up when I ask people this question.
No, dude, listen, if you've ever heard the term your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, have you ever heard that term? Like
yeah,
he's the
I
guy.
have.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
John is a rapper too, I guess, but he's a pop artist. But any musician that you love and that inspires you, John Bellion inspires them. Like
for sure.
he's insane. He can play any instrument. He can write like nobody's business. He can rap, sing, produce. He does it all. He's insane.
Yeah, I love John Bellion, specifically his The Human Condition album. I think that one's
Hmm.
fantastic.
Yeah, I got
And
it
also,
on got it on vinyl somewhere over here.
sweet.
But yeah,
No, yeah, I forgot that you really like Justin Bieber. I see you talking about him on your Twitter quite often, and I'm a huge
yeah.
JB fan too, so we can
Oh,
connect.
dope. Yeah. No, that's
uh,
that's cool. It's I like sometimes when I first started saying that as like a rapper, people were like, "What? Like Justin Bieber? Like you like that stuff?" But no, I love all kinds of music. Pop. I love pop music. So and Justin Bieber is a big part of that. He inspired a lot of what I do.
for sure, yeah. I think it's good to listen to a lot of music because then you get inspiration from a lot of different places. So, kind of going away from like the music part, who has inspired you the most, like personally in your life?
Mm. I definitely say my dad, my youth pastor inspired me a whole lot. I've got a close knit friend group, and we all love music too. So that we inspire each other, and we're competitive, and so that's been a big inspiration. There's a lot of pastors that I love and follow. Authors. I'm a big reader, so
Mm.
C.S. Lewis inspired me a whole lot. Um, I'm trying to think. Ted Decker inspired me a whole lot. So people like that. I'm leaving out so many things and aspects of my life, but a lot of people have inspired me for sure.
Yeah, that's dope. That's cool that you're a big reader. I feel like reading is slept on.
Yeah, oh
do you
for
have?
sure. I love
Do
reading.
you,
I was a book nerd growing up.
that's what's up. So yeah, we're running out of time. We only got about 2 minutes left, so we'll just
Okay.
leave it at that. Well, thank you again, Coop, for coming on. Super excited that you're able to get on. Where can we find you on your socials?
Oh yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm Coopy Trill, Coopytrill. On Twitter, I'm at the Coopy Trill, and then you can follow Next Move on Instagram, and you can follow the Next Move YouTube account to see all of our music videos from me, Henrik, Christopher Sincere. So yeah, that's me on socials. On Spotify and Apple Music and everything, it's just Coop. If you type in Coop Childlike, you'll hear my latest project. It should pop up on everywhere music is streamed. So
Yeah, we'll leave a link to all your socials and your Spotify and the link. Be sure to listen to his new project; it's fantastic, as well as check out some of his other stuff. He's got a lot of really good music there, and you can also find some of his songs on our Next Up playlist. We'll also leave a link to that. But
yes, sir.
be sure to comment and subscribe. Comment your favorite Coop song, and until next time.